Tonight, a fresh barrage of missiles pounds Tehran. Now Lebanon has been dragged into the conflict. We'll cross live to our reporter in Israel. Inside the operation to find the Supreme Leader and strike. Donald Trump foreshadows 4 weeks of war. Tankers hit. As oil prices surge, warnings the conflict could lead to an energy crisis not seen in 50 years. Also, trapped in dangerous surging floodwaters in SA's north. See the remarkable operation to rescue a stranded truckie. A track well travelled for Adelaide commuters and a few wrong turns for motorists. A look back as the Oban turns 40. And we speak to star crow Jake Saligo about his heart scare.
This is Adelaide's 9 News with Brenton Ragless.
Good evening. The war in the Middle East has exploded, escalating quickly, with countries across Asia and Europe now being drawn into the conflict. The death toll is rising in Iran, Israel and Lebanon, with US President Donald Trump warning the bloodshed could last for weeks. Mimi Becker begins our coverage from southern Israel.
Military powers trading blows while the world watches. Israel and the United States targeting the heart of Tehran. By day, smoke swallowed part of the city's skyline as wave after wave of missiles was sent into the city. Nightfall brought no reprieve. A police station smashed apart, nearby buildings now rubble. Heavy shelling also reported in the central city of Sanandej. On the other side, a barrage in the sky above Israel's capital. Most are picked up by the Iron Dome, but one breaks away. The ballistic missile bypassing Jerusalem's air defences and shooting towards the ground, hitting a road in the city's west. 6 people were injured, the strike leaving a huge crater and triggering an extensive emergency response. Earlier, 9 people were killed in this strike on a nearby city, Beit Shemesh. Dozens more were wounded, the blast destroying a synagogue and surrounding homes. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowing to bring the full force of the IDF as never before. Its firepower on full display throughout the country. This missile launching as we're about to go live. The conflict continues to spiral outwards. Iran-backed group Hezbollah firing several rockets at northern Israel in retaliation for the killing of the Supreme Leader. The strikes were intercepted, with reports this is the first combat use of Israel's new Iron Beam laser air defence system. Israel responding by bombing Beirut, dragging Lebanon into this war. The IDF says there are Hezbollah targets and that it's prepared to fight on all fronts. Another Iran-backed militia, Islamic Resistance, targeting American bases in Iraq, setting Erbil Airport ablaze. The illusion of insulation shattered in the Gulf.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh.
A drone hitting an apartment building in Dubai.
We have just been hit by a drone. We have it coming. It stinks of oil in here. I didn't even finish my cup of tea. We've just been hit by a drone.
American sites in the Middle East and beyond now magnets for retaliation. This is the US consulate in Karachi. Hundreds of protesters swarming the building in Pakistan's south, smashing the windows and igniting fires outside. Within hours, 22 people had died and more than 120 others left injured. The demonstrators clashing with security forces, assets also being targeted at sea. The oil tanker Skylight attacked off the coast of Oman. Operation Epic Fury has been met with a divided response. Thousands of Iranians flooded Tehran Square to mourn Ayatollah Khamenei's death. Others mobilised, celebrating and pushing for revolution.
The president is calling on Iranians to go out into the street and take down the regime. That's not without its risks. You know, we're seeing reports of Basij already roaming different cities in Iran, making sure to quell any sign of unrest or protest before it begins.
Those still in power standing firm.
Well, if their goal is change the regime, that is a mission impossible.
In Eilat, Israel, Mimi Becker, 9 News.
And Mimi is live for us tonight at Eilat in Israel's south, near its border with Jordan. Mimi, a new day there, and Iran has already launched a fresh barrage of missiles.
Brenton, explosions have been heard across Israel, Dubai, Doha, Abu Dhabi and Bahrain, right across the region, as reports that there's smoke coming from the US Embassy in Kuwait as well. So they are reporting their citizens to stay indoors. The United States confirming they have also launched attacks on Iran in the last 2 hours. And as this conflict widens, Israeli military says their offensive attacks against Hezbollah will stretch for days, and the death toll in Lebanon is already at 31. Brenton?
Mimi, stay safe and thank you for that development. As the Middle East undergoes a rapid and violent transformation, the United States' involvement is uncertain. American soldiers have already been killed in the renewed conflict, and US officials are yet to reveal their plan.
Operation Epic Fury unleashing a wave of attacks. And this is the moment the world's mightiest military destroyed the headquarters of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran's ballistic missile facilities wiped out by 1-ton bombs dropped from B-2 stealth bomber aircraft. More than 1,000 targets hit. But the massive joint US and Israel operation is coming at a steep cost. American bases are being targeted. The Pentagon confirming 3 American soldiers have been killed in combat and 5 others badly injured when retaliatory strikes hit Kuwait.
Sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
It won't be the billionaire kids of Donald Trump and his buddies that die. It's going to be the children of middle class and poor families.
While the fighting has just begun, this operation has been in the works for months. The CIA and Israel's Mossad were tracking Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, waiting for the perfect moment to attack. And that time finally arrived after intelligence revealing the Supreme Leader was planning on holding a morning meeting above ground at a compound in Tehran. He felt less vulnerable in the daylight, so Israel switched attack plans from a night assault to a morning hit. In a note to Air Force pilots, the IDF's Chief of Staff wrote, "We're making history. I trust you. Good luck to us all." And then the Ayatollah was killed, ending a reign of brutality that had spanned close to 4 decades.
We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do.
As the White House weighs the next move, the Commander-in-Chief is vowing full immunity for those who surrender, warning any member of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard who refuses will face certain death.
They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands.
There are many questions on the home front, but few answers from the US president. The world left wondering what happens now and what will be the extent of the United States' involvement as Iran navigates a power vacuum.
Does the president have a plan to guarantee that that happens?
No, it's not his job or my job to do this.
In Washington, D.C., Lauren Tomasi, 9 News. 48 hours after launching war on Iran, Donald Trump is tonight back at the White House, and the US president has put a potential timeline on America's attack. 4 weeks. That's how long the Commander-in-Chief believes fighting could extend for, and that would increase the risk of more US casualties. Tonight, the Iranian regime and the broader future of the Middle East is under question. The only certainty in war is uncertainty, and inside the White House, there's an unpredictable president.
Lauren Tomasi, thank you. And we're now 48 hours into this conflict. With more on the state of play, here's political editor Charles Croucher.
The Middle East is waking up to day 3 of this conflict. It began with a series of US and Israeli strikes across 7 cities in Iran, killing the Ayatollah, the former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, Iran's defence minister, chief negotiator and nearly 50 other senior figures. In response, the regime fired back, targeting cities in Israel, an American naval base in Bahrain, an airfield in Kuwait, ballistic missiles targeting Jordan, a drone attack in Oman, and strikes on Dubai's airport and luxury hotels throughout the United Arab Emirates. Today, Israel struck inside Lebanon. DFAT estimates 115,000 Australians are in the region, including Australian troops on secondment with the US military. These strikes have closed the airspace around Qatar and the UAE, 2 crucial hubs for global travel, particularly Australians heading to and from Europe. Right now, Iran's president, chief justice and a senior cleric are running the country as a trio as the country's assembly of experts chooses a new supreme leader, with input from the brutal Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC.
Utopia would be that there's a regime change. Iranian people are free, thankfully. Scary would be IRGC taking over. Even scarier, sectarian violence and a power vacuum. Those are really the 3 options, unfortunately, in front of us.
By attacking their neighbours, Iran is isolating itself in its own region, eliminating any sympathy in the Middle East and increasing the chance of a wider war. But Donald Trump says this campaign is a 4-week process and there'll be no US boots on the ground, meaning the president is relying on the Iranian people overthrowing what's left of a heavily armed and heavily agitated regime. And like so much tonight, that's no guarantee.
Australians could end up paying a hefty price at the Bowser, with fears we could be facing our worst fuel crisis in 50 years. A warning too for mortgage holders. Higher prices at the pump likely to fuel inflation.
Smoke billows from a sanctioned oil tanker in one of the world's busiest shipping lanes, as the war's ramifications are set to be felt at home.
In the worst case scenario, we will test and exceed record prices we've ever seen.
20% of the world's oil and gas passes through these waters. And with traffic at a standstill, the wholesale price of oil is only getting more expensive. On Friday, a barrel of oil was $73. This morning, $82. Tonight, $77. Every US dollar added to a barrel puts about a cent on the litre at the pump here. If prices stay high, you could be paying an extra 4 cents a litre by next week. If the Aussie dollar slides, it will only make that sting worse.
This is just another reminder that Australia has no control, zero control over the factors that determine prices at the Bowser.
Analysts modelling the worst case scenario.
In the most extreme case where the Strait of Hormuz is completely blocked, then the scale of that impact will be over 3 times the last major oil market shocks we saw in the 1970s.
How much diesel in days do we currently have in store on Australian soil?
34 days in relation to diesel, 32 days in relation to jet fuel, and 36 days in relation to petrol.
The pain doesn't stop at the Bowser. When oil spikes, it triggers a domino effect, hiking the prices of anything that needs fuel to move, including your groceries. It's a fresh burst of inflationary fire, and that's exactly what the RBA didn't need to see before they meet on March 16. Effie Zahos, 9 News.
Back home now, and 9 News has extraordinary vision of the moment a rescue helicopter saves a truck driver stuck in dangerous floodwaters south of Yunta. The delicate retrieval mission all caught on camera as the driver and hero dangle mid-air before being winched to safety. It comes as communities in the state's mid-north remain isolated tonight after severe rain and flash flooding.
From high in the sky, a tanker stranded in swelling floodwaters. This is the moment a truck driver is saved by a life flight helicopter. A rescuer balancing on top of the truck, reaching inside the cabin, wrestling a harness over the driver as rising waters surge, threatening their safety. The truckie and his hero dangling mid-air before being delicately winched to safety yesterday afternoon. An intense mission marked complete with a celebratory fist pump. This just one of many emergency calls for help as heavy rainfall left parts of the state's mid-north and Flinders Ranges isolated. The SES responding to more than 400 call-outs across the state since Saturday.
Our major dirt roads have had substantial damage. The creek crossings on all of them have taken fences.
But some sadly couldn't be saved. Motorbike rider Darren Hyman drowned trying to cross a flooded creek along R.M. Williams Way near Orroroo yesterday. Access to main roads still compromised by flooding today.
We finished up with 208 mils for the week. So, that's over 2/3 our annual rainfall just in 1 week.
With water now receding, locals have begun assessing damages. Main roads washed away, railways affected too. The Broken Hill and Whyalla lines and sections of the east-west corridor shut down, impacting freight across the country. While a significant clean-up lies ahead, the rainfall has brought welcome relief to communities who've suffered through a very dry summer.
It's a magic rain. We haven't had this kind of rain in my lifetime.
Samantha Hogan, 9 News.
A 4-car crash is causing peak hour chaos at Blackwood tonight, with one vehicle on its roof on Shepherds Hill Road after colliding with an SUV that's also extensively damaged. Just metres away, a Mini and a Volvo hit head-on. The crash happening at 4:15 and blocking westbound lanes. Witnesses helped the car's occupants, with 3 taken to hospital with minor injuries. 10 of the 12 emergency operating theatres at Flinders Medical Centre are still closed tonight, deemed too dangerous to use because of humidity after a lightning strike on Saturday crippled the hospital's air conditioning system. Of the 72 surgeries scheduled for today, only about 55% went ahead, mostly moved to private hospitals.
Our priority is safety. We don't want to be using theatres that we can't reassure our patients that they're at the right humidity and temperature level.
Lengthy repairs are also underway at Noarlunga Hospital, where a faulty air conditioner caused a similar problem. A driver accused of a fatal hit-run crash on the north-south motorway at Dry Creek has been released on bail. Let's go live to April Creighton, who was in court. April, the accused man was allegedly drink driving.
Brenton, 22-year-old Harrison Beckel faced the Elizabeth Magistrates Court here today, where the court heard he was arrested almost 3 hours after the crash and returned a blood alcohol reading of 0.13. Prosecutors allege Beckel was seen by witnesses vomiting on the side of the road, falling into bushes before leaving the scene, as the victim could be heard yelling for help. Beckel stands accused of fatally hitting a 33-year-old Findon man about 1 a.m. yesterday, who had been attending to his broken down four-wheel drive on the side of the north-south motorway. The victim later died in hospital.
Do you want to tell us what happened that night? Are you sorry for what's happened?
He will face court again in June. Brenton.
Thank you, April. The Premier has pledged out of hours school care for every SA public primary student if Labor wins the state election. It's a 10-year plan announced by Peter Malinauskas in his own electorate, while the Liberals ventured into the regions, once again pushing their plan for a greater Adelaide truck bypass.
On his home turf, an audience with primary school parents and a plan to make before and after school care available to all.
I don't actually know whether they've got them.
No, they don't here.
Oh, okay.
And we're also announcing today that they will.
68 new schools promised OSH services in the next 4 years should Labor be re-elected. A $45.5 million promise, with plans to make the option statewide in a decade's time.
Tens of thousands of kids don't get access to it, which is what we want to expand.
OSH is much more than just extended school supervision. It's a place where children can belong and they can be valued.
Meanwhile, the Liberals spent the day focused on the regions. Ashton Hearn riding shotgun, promising $2 million to upgrades in Tailem Bend, as well as re-announcing their $211 million pledge for a greater Adelaide bypass. But the Liberals' plan to pull trucks off Port Rush and Cross Road isn't clear-cut if they win the election. The project would still require an 80% investment from the federal government to the tune of around $840 million.
We'd encourage Anthony Albanese to get with the program and stump up the money that's required.
Ashton Hearn's team also facing questions over their campaign communication. Just days ago, their candidate for the seat of Badco still spruiking the Liberals' dumped policy to remove stamp duty on all homes by 2041.
I'm sure he'll make some adjustments to that post in due course.
The post has since been deleted. Gus McDonald, 9 News.
Rehn joins us now. G'day, Sport. Plenty of relief at Port.
Yeah, they got through yesterday's final pre-season hit out unscathed. Raggy, no one more relieved than Jason Horne-Francis, but has he avoided scrutiny from the match review officer for this little nudge that concussed an Eagles defender? That verdict coming up later in Sport. Also, back in full flight, young Crow Jake Saligo tells us of his recent heart scare.
I was in pretty good hands, so wasn't really too nervous about it, but yeah, it was good.
And it wasn't pretty, but Sam Kerr seals the deal for the Tillies in their Asian Cup opener. That and so much more coming up later in Sport. Brenton.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Rehn. It was the bucket list trip that turned to tragedy. An Adelaide man killed while ziplining in Queensland. His wife telling of the botched response in the moments after his fall. That story's next. Also, celebrating 4 decades of the history-making O-Bahn in Adelaide. And the new towers to take shape on Adelaide's ever-changing skyline. The wife of an Adelaide tourist killed in a zipline accident in far north Queensland has told an inquest she didn't have safety concerns before Dean Sanderson fell up to 25 metres to his death. But she and other witnesses did have concerns about the staff's medical response.
For Dean Sanderson, a surprise bucket list trip to far north Queensland would tragically be his last. A zipline failing over the Daintree rainforest, killing the father of 3 in October 2019. On day 1 of a coronial inquest, his wife Shannon recounted the moments they were harnessed together as they started the 86-metre zipline between the grandstand to the edge platforms. We were going quite fast, then there was quite a sudden drop. I remember screaming and I think Dean said to me, they're probably just playing around with us. Next, she remembers waking on the forest floor, screaming for help and her husband unresponsive. Another tourist trained in advanced first aid, insisting he help.
I convinced them to let me go and then I zipped the next 2 sections where I was met by one of their staff and then we ran back up through the bush and managed to get on scene.
Stephen Pattinson today telling the inquest while the Jungle Surfing Canopy Tours staff member had a defibrillator, he didn't have any idea how to open it, use it, set it up. So I explained it, helping them do CPR for about an hour and a half.
I was just glad I was there and that I was trained and that I could help.
Ultimately, the 50-year-old couldn't be saved and Shannon was hospitalised for 10 days, having suffered a punctured lung, head injury and broken ribs. Now the coroner's probing whether the use of wire rope grips that failed were compliant, along with the design and maintenance of the Flying Fox course. And while all 4 witnesses today agreed they didn't have any safety concerns before the deadly incident, they all said they weren't weighed prior.
The inquest is expected to run until Thursday before more witnesses are called next Tuesday. Kate Lamb, 9 News.
An accused drug trafficker has been chased from Ascot Park and arrested on South Road. The 28-year-old Glandore man allegedly carrying 60 grams of methamphetamine, 200 grams of cannabis, nearly $2,000 in cash and several stolen bank cards. Police say a search of his home uncovered more drugs, an extendable baton and drug-related equipment. Prosecutors have revealed a Craigmore father allowed his 7-year-old son to suffer in pain for more than 16 hours before he died from pneumonia. Shane Wanganeen faced the Supreme Court today, previously pleading guilty to the criminal neglect of his son Mackay, who was so sick his lungs weighed almost double the normal amount by the time he was eventually taken to hospital. The defence says Wanganeen shouldn't be handed a further penalty given time already spent in custody. He'll be sentenced next week. The O-Bahn busway turns 40 today. Can you believe it? It's proven to be a popular public transport route over the years, connecting Adelaide to the northeastern suburbs. Although it hasn't always been a smooth ride, cars often ending up on the tracks. But it's revolutionised travel to the city for more than 4 million passenger trips a year.
One of the first bus drivers on the O-Bahn. Back on board one of the original Mercedes-Benz buses from March 1986.
The driver takes his hands off the steering wheel.
Frightening.
The rule was hands off of steering wheels at the time. You're doing 100 kilometres an hour.
Using a blueprint of Germany's Essen busway and adopting a German name, the Omnibus Bahn, or O-Bahn, revolutionised our public transport system.
Being hailed as the fastest bus service in the world.
Adelaide, the second city in the world to take on the transformative concept.
A project that was given an engineering lifespan of only 30 years is still here with us today, 40 years later.
The historic transport route a treasure to many South Australians.
My mum, my brother and I were the very first civilians to actually ride before the service was even open to the public, so I thought that was pretty cool as a 13-year-old lad.
But it hasn't always been a smooth ride.
Are you okay? Is everything okay? I'm okay.
Oh no, bus crash!
Cars too, taking a wrong turn past bus-only signs, shutting down the track many times over the years.
Cars entering the track past terrace, they're just going for it.
Despite some mishaps, it's proven a popular success. During morning peak hour, a bus is heading towards the city every minute.
Since this original bus first took to the track 40 years ago, the O-Bahn has grown into Adelaide's busiest public transport corridor, with over 30,000 trips each day.
It's a very unique feature of our state, a very proud one.
Sally Marshall, 9 News.
Yeah, I love it. It's quite an icon, isn't it? Well done and thanks to all. Well, the city's skyline is set for another shake-up as plans to redevelop an historic building on North Terrace were today unveiled. The $300 million project will feature 3 towers, one up to 30 stories high, with residential and restaurant spaces to connect Adelaide University to Gawler Place.
It's going to be a mixed-use development, so I think the retail component, the entertainment component is going to be attracting the people, the students here, to create the vibrancy.
Construction is expected to start late next year. Grey skies again across Adelaide today, but the showers are on their way out. Now, Jessica Braithwaite will soon be seeing the sun again.
Yeah, it might not feel like it now, Brenton. It has been quite a grey day around Adelaide, and on the cooler side too. We were forecast for 25 degrees. We ended up coming in only around the 21 degree mark. So we certainly have felt, a little bit milder as we ease into autumn, but it is going to be feeling like summer again very soon indeed. We will notice the clouds starting to break up throughout the week. We're lifting back up into the high 20s and even around the 30 degree mark. So we can expect more sun and summery vibes in just a few days' time, and I'll have that forecast coming up soon.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, Jessica. In the news ahead, the latest political poll shows One Nation continuing to nip at the heels of Labor, as a leaked report paints a grim picture of the Liberals' last election campaign. Hope those details shortly. Also, police in the US state of Texas investigate whether a bar shooting has terror links. And Delta Goodrem locked in to represent Australia at this year's Eurovision. A secret Liberal Party review of its disastrous election campaign last year has largely blamed Peter Dutton and his unpopular policies. The leaked report comes as support surges for One Nation, causing major concern for the coalition ahead of a critical by-election.
If the polls can be believed, this person is the opposition leader.
Very pleased with it, but still a long way before the election.
Primary support for Labor slipping in favour of One Nation, which is now just 4 points behind. The coalition still lagging third, unchanged on just 19%. Anthony Albanese well ahead as preferred Prime Minister, followed by Pauline Hanson. Angus Taylor a distant third.
So I think we've got them all nervous. They're a bit scared about this.
The actual opposition leader sitting in the hot seat for the first time since toppling Susan Lee in a leadership spill. A fresh leader, but dealing with the past. A Liberal Party review of last year's election campaign has been kept secret, in part to protect Peter Dutton and others from embarrassment. But a leaked copy of the 64-page report says a grim and introverted Dutton made himself captain, coach and ball boy of an incoherent campaign. Its nuclear power and ban on working from home policies were politically mistimed or alienating, and the decision to oppose Labor's tax cut immediately impacted on the coalition's economic credentials.
The member for Hume
is the economic and political genius who is responsible for the mess that they're in right now.
We need to look forward, not backwards.
Perhaps with one eye on a looming by-election in Susan Lee's old seat, where One Nation preferences will be important, the coalition didn't support a motion censuring Senator Hanson for vilifying Muslims. Senator Hanson meting out her own punishment.
You know what? You happy? There are. I've given myself a slap. This is a joke.
Senator Hanson, no.
Andrew Probin, 9 News.
2 people have been killed when a gunman opened fire in a bar in the US city of Austin, with 3 others now fighting for life. The shooter was killed by police, with local officials indicating the attack may have been terror-related. The 53-year-old had been wearing a shirt with an Iranian flag design. Swarming an oil tanker in the North Sea, French military helicopters have helped Belgian forces seize a ship allegedly linked to Russia's Shadow Fleet. Night vision shows soldiers rappelling onto the vessel, which is on the EU's sanctions list. Russia has called the seizure of tankers carrying its cargo an act of piracy. Aussie pop superstar Delta Goodrem will represent the nation on the world stage as our representative for this year's Eurovision Song Contest. Following in the footsteps of Guy Sebastian, Dama Yim and Jessica Mauboy, Delta will perform her new single, Eclipse.
It's a real blessing because the Eurovision community is just one of the best in the world. They love music. We all love music, and you get to discover all these artists from other countries. And I'm already inspired by all the songs I've heard, and I just love it.
The 70th contest will be held in Vienna in May and will be broadcast to a global audience of 800 million people. Still ahead this Monday, are you one of the millions who suffer from hair loss? Next, the trial recruiting Australians for a treatment to stop it and even reverse the effects. And the toy is at the top of every child's wish list this year, and why nostalgic items are back in. To finance, and Australian investors pause to digest the Middle East conflict, with the share market recovering all of its early losses. Here's Nine's Money editor, Effie Zahos.
Given ours was one of the first share markets to trade globally after the outbreak of war, investors were remarkably relaxed today. After plunging at the open, the ASX 200 clawed those losses back and finished slightly in front. But zoom in and traders followed a familiar defensive script. Gold, energy and defence stocks got a boost, with local miners benefiting from a gold price that surged back past $5,300 an ounce. Meanwhile, travel, tech and bank stocks copped it, though Qantas might benefit if there are prolonged disruptions to airports in Dubai, Doha and Abu Dhabi, as the routes to Europe don't stop there. The instability helping the US dollar, which gained on our dollar, now trading under 71 US cents.
Thank you, Effie. A groundbreaking new clinical trial is on the way for Australians losing their locks. Researchers now calling for hundreds of hair loss sufferers to take part. And how's this? You can be paid tens of thousands of dollars for your time.
Like so many men, Vince Mullacrea relies on a hat to hide his hairline.
Do you mind actually having the hat off for the interview?
Well, I mean, it's gone on national TV. It's more like when we go out, you know, like everyone gets all dressed up, everyone does their hair. And I'm in the mirror just going, oh God, how am I going to fix this?
The father of 2 is 40, but his strands first started to go in his early 20s. And there's not a treatment he hasn't tried.
I've tried the minoxidil, finasteride, the tablets.
Now looking to join a clinical trial testing a new drug targeting pattern hair loss.
I think this is going to be a popular trial.
Scientists have identified a hormone called prolactin that's found in both the hair follicles of men and women. Researchers believe it's a key driver in going bald, so they've developed an injection to block the hormone, believing that could stop hair loss, help hair grow back, and even stop it from going grey.
Hair loss impacts almost half of all Aussies by age 50, and doctors say while there's been a surge in demand for hair-saving treatments, modern medicine hasn't been keeping up.
For decades, we actually have not seen any advancements that work better than what we've got in the market at the moment.
The rest of the world is watching eagerly
to see the outcome of this trial.
Nucleus Network and Sinclair Dermatology are both helping conduct this trial, now recruiting hundreds of men and women experiencing hair loss.
You just need to have a look on the website and see if you have the hair loss pattern we're looking for.
There are terms and conditions relating to this study, including who's eligible and how much they could be paid. Some participants could be reimbursed $27,000.
Look, when it comes to regrowing my hair, don't care about the money.
Lily Greer, 9 News.
Well, the rise of kidults has seen a shifting trend amongst what toys are at the top of Australians' children's wish lists. The industry's biggest trade show has kicked off, showcasing this year's top sellers.
If you work in the toy industry, you've got to be young at heart.
There's never a day where it's boring, you know.
At the biggest toy trade show in the Southern Hemisphere, it's time to play.
It's the ultimate web shooting toy.
Parents, take note. These are the toys tipped to make wish lists.
It's an interactive gaming system that you plug into your TV.
The industry voting Leapfrog Move Toy of the Year.
You play without even realising that actually you're learning.
Zipstring Arachna, the kids' choice.
It shoots and retracts a glowing loop of string, and it's heaps of fun for kids of all ages.
For the retailers, it's about seeing what's new and what's cool and what might sell really well.
It wouldn't be a toy show without Hot Wheels and Barbie.
We've got the Nutcracker coming out, both in doll form as we see it here, and a new TV series on Netflix.
With kids growing up faster than ever these days, the toy industry is focusing on an emerging market. The rise of the kidult. They're aged 13 and up and into collectibles and nostalgia.
They're into buying back all the stuff that their mum threw out.
If anyone knows about nostalgia, it's Mike Wall. At 82, he's been in the toy industry for 37 years, at the helm of Hobbyco.
Every day is like Christmas for us.
Justine Conway, 9 News.
Oh, fantastic. I love that train set. Now, I've got a question for you, Rehn.
Yes.
Have you kept any of your toys from your childhood?
Bit of Lego, bit of Jenga. I like that. What about you?
Pretty obvious ones. A couple of Star Wars characters,
Oh, I
micro
like it.
machines. Got a transformer that's missing an arm so it doesn't fold back. Don't laugh, don't laugh. I've got one of the original Pound puppies.
Wow.
Which I kept for my kids. I kept it for
Yeah,
the
of course. Yeah, pass it down. Little hand-me-down.
Now, a lot of relief for Josh Carr. How's that, eh?
Well, his power plays really are setting an early standard, Raggy. Against the Eagles in Perth, they were great. And the bonus, they got through unscathed. And these three really led the way. We're going to hear from the power coach next. Also, we check in with the young Crow following his recent heart scare, and his Aussie rules about to be shown off to the world. The boss certainly thinks so. Hello again. Josh Carr says the standard has been set for the Power season after his side smashed the Eagles by 73 points in its final pre-season hit-out. All of Port's big guns fired, including the injury-prone Jason Horne-Francis, who booted 2 goals and survived a suspension scare.
Port's power trio touches down after a mighty showing in the West. A clean game for Jason Horne-Francis, getting through the match unscathed, shrugging off his foot troubles last week. And even more relief tonight, avoiding the scrutiny for this incident, which led to Eagles defender Harry Edwards being concussed.
Young got a fist in there that time. Lord crunched through and Edwards is in trouble. That was a big hit.
Horne-Francis created havoc up forward, a role his coach has planned for him in the early stages of the season.
He's just got to be out there, and that's the great thing. It's not about his performance, it's just about him being able to work and get some footy into him to give him the confidence.
The drubbing of the Eagles leaving Josh Carr satisfied his game plan stands up, setting the standard on the eve of the season.
From the way we defend as a group to the way we move the footy, it's just making sure that we're doing it together.
But one stood above the rest, Mitch Georgiades showing off against a flailing defence.
From just beyond the arc of 50. It's close, but it's home. 6 goals.
He's a really good player for us, and he's a product of what happens up the field also.
His usual forward partner Todd Marshall relishing his defence, Carr seeing improvements in his versatility.
I'm liking what his development is and the way he reads the game and he can use the footy.
There's now just 13 days until the Power's opening clash against North Melbourne.
We understand what the expectations are internally, and it's about improvement and getting better.
Daniel Litchens, 9 News.
Well, Crows midfielder Jake Saligo has spoken for the first time since undergoing minor heart surgery last week. The 23-year-old was back training at full tilt today with the hope of being available for selection for the round 1 clash against Collingwood. Soligo had a successful operation last Wednesday night after being heavily managed throughout the summer due to an irregular heartbeat. And he's told 9 News he's on the mend and feeling good.
I was in pretty good hands, so wasn't really too nervous about it. But yeah, feeling good. Doing a big session today and hopefully Wednesday. And yeah, it'll be good. Good week, back into it.
Yeah, great to hear. Riley Philthorpe was in recovery mode today, despite being a late omission from the trial against the Dockers with a stiff back. Wounded Crows, Isaac Rankin, Cal Archie, Isaac Cumming and Mitch Hinge all trained today. That's in a bid to return for the first 2 rounds of the season. Let's stick with footy. AFL CEO Andrew Dillon has revealed the league is planning to make a surprise push to have Aussie rules football included at the 2032 Brisbane Olympics.
There's a precedent for that back in 1956 in Melbourne where, Australian rules football was the exhibition sport. So I think our sport is a sport that, should be on that stage and we'll work closely with the Olympic Committee on what form that takes.
League power brokers are gathering in Sydney to launch the season with opening round set to kick off on Thursday night. Western Bulldogs star Sam Darcy is still pushing to play in the Dogs season opener against the reigning premiers Brisbane on Friday night. The 22-year-old trained away from the main group and will have to get through main training on Wednesday if he's to play.
It might have been a soggy session, but that suits the Dogs well this week. A wet Brisbane is expected on Friday night. The reigning premiers will hoist their flag, but these doggies will be out to rain on their parade.
It's always humid up there as well, so you're expecting those conditions. Probably a bit similar to what we played in on Friday night.
Sam Darcy is hoping to be there, though a corked back is currently making life a pain. He and Aaron Norton trained lightly today, away from the main group.
There was a lot of boys on light duties today, fair few out there, but yeah, they'll probably train fully on Wednesday hopefully and be there on Saturday.
As for Oscar Baker, he had to wait until after the trade period last season to be handed a 1-year deal. Though a strong pre-season has the 27-year-old confident he can secure a spot in the side for the season ahead.
Since being drafted in 2017, it's taken Oscar Baker a little longer than he would have liked to reach the 50-game milestone, but assuming he plays in opening round and round 1, he'll reach the feat in round 2 against the Crows.
Even my years growing up as a kid, had to show a lot of resilience in my football. Wasn't always really the first kid picked in a lot of teams, didn't really play in a lot of rep teams, so I feel like that's been instilled in me my whole career.
In Sydney, injured Hawk star Will Day may miss half the season after a shoulder reconstruction, but he is still confident the side will be okay without him.
I'm in a good spot at the moment and really optimistic about the back half of the year.
Trent Neese, 9 News.
Well, it wasn't perfect, but it was 3 points. Sam Kerr's early header in Perth was the difference as the Matildas opened their Asian Cup campaign with a 1-0 victory over the Philippines.
We would have liked to probably score a few more goals, but like Joe said, we're in control the whole game and it's about building into the tournament. So we have a lot to work on, obviously, moving forward, but job done.
Yeah, they got the win, which was great. The Tillies have made their way to the Gold Coast for Thursday night's clash against Iran. Let's hope they get the win. Speaking of wins, news just in from the Crows, Adelaide media icon Graham Goodings has been re-elected to the club's board. Majority vote of 65%. So congratulations to Graham. He's been long-serving now.
He sure has. Thanks so much, Rennie.
Thanks,
we will catch you tomorrow. Clear skies return this week. Jessica has the weather outlook next, but first, tomorrow's speaker.
Hi, it's Rue Ditz and Loz from Triple M Breakfast.
Turn us on tomorrow morning for the latest Adelaide news, traffic and weather. And don't miss Adelaide's most listened to segment, The Rumour Mill.
On 104.7 Triple M.
Hello again. We've had mild conditions today to begin the week. We've had grey skies. A lot of the rain from the weekend has dried up. Like, we really only saw a few little sprinkles left over today, but temperatures did not want to budge underneath all of that cloud cover. We were forecast for 25. We ended up coming in at 21 degrees, and right now it's already back to 18 degrees, which actually was our overnight low as well. So it gives you an idea of temperatures not really wanting to rise very much today. So across the suburbs, we did see overcast conditions, the odd little sprinkle. We're talking 0.2 of a millimetre around today, and temperatures that were pretty mild, only 22 degrees at Mawson Lakes, and get this, just 15 degrees at Mount Lofty today. After those 3-day totals up above 200-300 millimetres through the northeast there, today there was not much left in it at all, and temperatures were on the cooler side. 22 at Port Lincoln, only 18 at Clare. And today was really the first taste of those cooler autumn vibes, even if it won't last long. Murray Bridge and Narraclough both maxing out at 20 degrees. On the charts, we see order is being restored to the maps. We've got a simple high-pressure system moving in. That will eventually clear things out and warm things back up throughout this week. Interstate, Sydney has another rainy day on the way tomorrow with 27. Melbourne looking drizzly with 20. And Canberra, it's still a chance of some heavy rainfall with 23 degrees. But for South Australia, it is a time for everyone to dry out with that sun starting to re-emerge throughout those clouds. Still in the 20s with 24 at Port Augusta and 23 at Whyalla and Clare. And still a little overcast at Renmark with 25 on the way and at Victor Harbour with 20. But even where the cloud does linger, we're not really expecting any more rainfall for now. On local waters tomorrow, southerlies reaching up to 20 knots north of Grange in the late afternoon, and around the Adelaide suburbs, partly cloudy conditions for your Tuesday in the mid-20s on the plains. Outer Harbour and Glenelg are expecting 25 and Noarlunga 24. In the city, it's partly cloudy, 25 degrees with the overnight low of 15. And then after that, you're going to see conditions really warming up and looking quite pleasant, really. We've got the high 20s for Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, we're up to 29 degrees. And just like that, it's going to feel like summer again over that long weekend with sunny conditions, 30 degrees right the way through there. I think perfect conditions for festival season in Adelaide, Brenton.
I love it. Grateful for the rain, but good to see the sun again. Thanks so much, Desia. That's our bulletin for this Monday. Thanks so much for joining us. Stay with 9 now for a current affair with our late news soon after 10 p.m. Hope you have a good evening.